Okay, here we go again.
I'm here.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. It's Alexandria Maloney, and I'm your host of BPIA Chats. I hope everyone is staying safe and lifted at this time. The thoughts and views of our guest speakers are their own and do not reflect the views of BPIA. We are currently streaming live, and this talk will be posted on our IGTV when the stream has ended. If you haven't already, please follow Black Professionals in International Affairs at IABPIA on Instagram, as well as our guest speaker, whose information can be found on the flyer on our Instagram page. And we encourage viewers to chime in below in the thread with your comments and your questions. So I'm excited to introduce our speaker for today, Ms. Cordelia Gaffar. She is an emotion opener who helps women to use their emotions as power by eating for optimum emotional wellness so that they can cope with various aspects of life. She has been awarded the Powerhouse Global Award for Best Podcast Host of 2019 in London and was awarded Volunteer of the Year in the United States. She's an author and a certified in sports nutrition. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Cordelia. Maybe drop a wave, hand wave in the comment thread below.
Hello, how are you?
Great. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So maybe you could share a little bit more with us about your journey and what you're currently doing now.
Sure, absolutely. So about 5 years ago, I wrote a book called Workout Around My Day. And the focus of that book was exactly that, so that women could find ways to squeeze in small workouts around their busy schedule, and also so that they could find ways to eat healthy that were easy. And over these years, I went from doing small community talks to speaking on stages around the world. Most of my clients are either in Europe or Asia or Africa. Yeah.
So how does one go about, for someone who may be interested in this field, what is some advice that you would give to them? So whether it's, they may have some guidance or story that they would like to, or information or resources that they would like to share, to the folks that they believe would find benefit in that information. What advice would you give to them, as well as folks who may be interested in doing like international speaking or sharing at conferences or things like that?
Yeah, always begin by having a main focus on your impact, and look in your local community for the places where people need that. For me, right, I'm a homeschooling mom. I have 6 kids. I was heavily involved already in the homeschooling communities in local mosque, right? So if you're involved in your church or your university, start there in just the clubs, okay? And the social clubs in those places. And then present workshops, just ask the directors and, present a proposal. As far as speaking internationally, it's so easy now because we are in this virtual environment. There's so many, different communities on LinkedIn that I joined. I also, back then, I don't know if you guys even remember this, but I joined an international Periscope community.
Okay.
And we did these daily conferences. So for 10 minutes, I spoke on a topic, and it's really helpful to get you quick on your feet. But I don't know that they have those anymore. I think they're more like Facebook Live kind of communities that do that. But basically, just join those international communities where you're speaking virtually on a regular basis. You can also join international masterminds, right? And it's the same thing. You would search like in LinkedIn or Facebook for those type of business opportunities, and then you'll hear about online summits and the like. Yeah.
So for folks who are tuning in, thank you for joining. If you could feel free to drop any comments or questions that you may have for Miss Cordelia in the thread. So my next question is more specific to emotional wellness and during this COVID-19 situation. So is there any advice or guidance that you have on how individuals can maintain a sense of emotional wellness and how to ensure, checking in with oneself during this time?
Yeah. First of all, this is not the time to binge watch or binge eat. I'm going to just say that like straight out, because both of those things will throw off your hormones, right? We know about your serotonin levels and all those things. So when you stay up late, right, and never mind the blue light from the, whatever device it is that you're on, because nobody's really on a TV these days, right? So it just disrupts your hormonal balance. And then as far as binge eating, if you're going to eat lots of food, I would say do things that support the nervous system, like, surprise, surprise, walnuts. These are just really basic, easy foods to eat. So like walnuts, what do you call those? Sunflower seeds, just seeds and nuts. It's the best, it's the best fast food. And it supports your nervous system. You have your omega-3s and omega-6s, you have protein, and those are the kind of things that will help you. Now, that's just the outside stuff. The inside stuff, let's face it, myself, I have people calling me, my mom's friend died, and I want to be there for her, but I'm, struggling with stuff myself. And then, your kids are also maybe going through some things. So we have to remember that our kids are a mirror of ourselves. So the system check is, I posted a graphic about this the other day that I found online. I thought was really great. If your kid's repeatedly saying, I'm bored, and they don't want to do their schoolwork, that is code. And you may even use this word and not know it. That's code for, I'm really sad. I feel out of sorts. Can we sit and cuddle and talk? Please look me in the eye. I feel lost. You can support yourself and your children, right, if you have them, or just support yourself if you live by yourself, by having a daily routine. Yes, you're not going to the office. You may be working from home, and be grateful for that, right? Because many people, like 1% of US has lost their jobs right now. So, beginning your day with a routine that looks like this. Thank you. I'm breathing today. And really feel the thank you, like touch your heart and thank you, right? How many times do we say thank you and it's just like, just words falling out of our mouth, but actually genuinely feeling that thank you. And then, okay, this sounds really, interesting, but go into the mirror and hug yourself and look yourself in the eye. I love you. And really mean it and feel it. And you don't have to wash your face and do your hair first. It's just, I love you. Okay. And there are, different points, because we hold a lot of stress in our joints. So if we squeeze like on our wrist, our finger joints, our elbows are something that we don't think about because we always feel it in our shoulders. But these are parts that don't get touched, right? So just squeeze yourself a little bit after that hug. And then, okay, yeah, do some exercise, yeah? We all know you want to get out into nature. You can take a walk, but you can also, if it's raining, right? Or if you don't want to put on a jacket because it's too cold, you can do some push-ups, sit-ups. And what I did a video about this on my YouTube channel yesterday. Wring out your free radicals, wring out the toxins. So that just means, again, with your joints, just twisting in the joint sockets. And that forces you to breathe. Like there's no way if you twist, right, this, like you're wringing out something that you just washed, there's no way you can do that without, and that breathing, that really, you know, helps you to come back to center. And it's like, takes 5 minutes. So what you want to do with that one is just set your timer to the last 5 minutes of every hour and commit to 5 minutes of movement. It could be dancing, it could be wringing out, it could be whatever you want. And, right, and then of course, get into your day, eat a good breakfast. And, you know, starting, like I said, with nuts, seeds, mangoes, papaya, red bananas. These are things that are high in dietary fiber, so you'll last longer. They also are very high in vitamin C. And the better thing that we don't know about vitamin C is actually it wakes up. It gives you the energy boost that you need for the day. You know, we usually think of vitamin C as, oh, good, I won't get a cold. But it's so much deeper than that, right? And it sets, it lays a foundation for your body to receive things like potassium and vitamin D. And also I would recommend adding in some, well, the seeds and nuts actually have a fair amount of vitamin B's in it, but add in some vitamin B complex supplement, because that again will support your hormone balance. So yeah. And go to bed on time.
Yeah, that was the last thing I was going to say. And get that sleep. Get your sleep.
Sleep. So like be awake for 14 hours. That's like normal average wake time. And then sleep the rest of the time. Yeah.
What exactly is an emotions opener for folks who may not know?
That is a title that I created myself because I'm a disruptor like that. Basically, it's, you know, when I started coaching women, I noticed that they had an aversion to their emotions. So I helped them to lean into their difficult emotions. And that's why I call it emotions opener. And I just give strategies to do that through release, restructure, refresh, and rebirth. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Could you share, and again, for those who are watching, hi, thank you for joining. If you all could feel free to drop any comments or any questions to Ms. Cordelia, and I will do my best to answer them. So my next question is more in relation to any of your international travel that you've done. So maybe you could share some experience of that travel, any moments or things that stood out to you. What's your approach to interacting with cultures that may be different than yourself, and any other advice that you may have for folks who are interested in traveling abroad?
Yeah, traveling abroad is an adventure, right? So expect to be enlightened. That's what I would say. Just start that journey by expecting to be enlightened. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to begin with my trip to Bali. So when I went to Bali, right, I went through Dubai. Everyone loves that airport. It's an awesome airport. But then the Asian airports are a little bit different. And it can be both confusing and also a little bit like the lines are long, even if you have whatever special category of travel that you have. And, you know, so it's like your line is going to be about 10 people shorter than the real line, you know, so don't expect any special, you know, treatment. This is your opportunity to really connect with humans on a human level, and even, I would say, welcome your own humanity, right? You just are flesh and blood. And, you know, that's your right. You have a right to breathe. You have a right to stand in line, and you have a right to get in touch with patients. And, you know, look around and see who you can help, right? Have conversations, because you're going to be in line for a long time. It's a lot of lines, right? And then once you get to your destination, you know, again, don't look to be comfortable. That's not the whole purpose of traveling. Like, did you really leave your home to be comfortable? No, you left your home to relax. So part of relaxing, right, is just leaning into things that you don't do at home. Like if you live in DC like we do, right, we're rushing all the time. Okay, so let's do the opposite of rushing. Okay. And I mean, again, routine is always important. So one thing, you know, when you're going that far away from home, the first day, I recommend stay awake just to get get your body in a line with the time zone. And if you're going to like Asia, don't go for 3 or 4 days. You have to stay like 14 days minimum, I think. I mean, maybe 10 days minimum, just so that it's not too much of a shock to the system. Also, as far as eating, because, you know, that's my lane. So as far as eating, you know, just eat what's local. You know, I always feel like it's always best to eat what's in season and what's local. And I mean, that doesn't mean that you go like to the off the street eating. You want to, you know, be wise when it comes to that. Also, instead of using antibacterial, right, things, you want to use something natural, like essential oils. You can use thieves oil. You can use, okay, I'll get to that question in a minute. What's my favorite experience? I don't know. You can use silver also. Silver is, I just keep silver in my bag and just spray it on my hands instead of antibacterial. My favorite experience abroad. I don't know. I mean, it would be between my trip to Bali and my trip to the DR. In both cases, like I said, you know, I really like getting to know the local people. What I liked about my trip to Bali in particular is when I went to shop, I didn't go to the mall. I just went on the, you know, just to the regular shops, and I talked to the shopkeepers, and they really took the time with me. They're like, so what is it that, you know, who are you buying for? Like, they wanted to know the life story of the person I was buying for. You know what I mean? I was like, wow. You know, and they're like, oh, you know, it sounds like they would really like a dress like this, or, you know, we have this kind of jewelry for little girls, you know? And I was amazed when I came home, and like everybody, my friends, my children, everyone that I bought for, they were just like, this is perfect, you know? So I'd have to say that. Now, when I went to London, interestingly enough, London is a different kind of fast. But what I didn't get stressed out. It was like when I was in the tube, I have to tell you, I made the mistake one day of taking the tube during rush hour.
Oh.
But it was funny to me, okay? I just want to say that because, like, there were so many people, right? And, like, bodies. We were like sardines. And they must have some amazing ventilation system because I could actually breathe. I didn't feel claustrophobic at all. But I was just like, because I'm a person that I like to keep my distance.
Yeah.
But I had to laugh because nobody was looking at anybody. And everyone was just squeezing, you know? So, and learning moment about cultural exchanges. You know, I have to say, outside the United States, people are really people. I have had some of the best conversations. And other places, okay, so even with that experience in London, right, with people not seeing each other on the tube, like when I went to a cafe and I was by myself, someone came and we just, you know, sat together because there was no choice. It was a full cafe. So they were like, is anyone sitting with you? And I'm like, no. And so they sat down and we just talked as if we were meaning to meet there, you know? So isn't that interesting? I thought that was really interesting because it was like, you're in a place where on the one hand, nobody looks at each other. And on the other hand, when you don't have a choice, you can have nice, polite, deep conversation with a stranger, you know? So, yeah. And go ahead.
Yep. I was gonna do a quick hi. Hello everyone. Thank you for joining. I see Valerie Kong. She's one of our BPIA board members. So thank you for joining the call. We have Miss Cordelia Gaffar on, who is a emotions opener and an author, and who is sharing her international experiences and insights on reflecting on one's emotions, particularly during this time of in our current circumstances. So the next question that I have is related to your professional work and experience. So what do you like most about the work that you do?
I really enjoy seeing the transformation, from women who for years may have been numbing out in, any number of ways. They're like overachievers. They go to the gym too many hours, or they don't go to the gym at all, right? And then just seeing the light bulb come on and drop into their heart, and they're like, you know what? It's okay to feel. I had a conversation with a woman actually recently, and we had worked together previously, right? And so she had such a difficult time that it had affected her joints. So, like, she was seeing a physical therapist, and after working together, her physical therapist actually released her from care, because it was really just all the resentment from her job that she was holding, like literally in her joints. And just to see, we always talk about the mind, body, spirit connection and all that, but just to see, like, it really is real. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for women who may be experiencing or men or individuals who may be experiencing these emotions, how to overcome or how to face some of these things in order to heal and move forward?
Yeah. So there's something I like to
I know
call.
that's a big question.
No, it's totally fine. I get it. I call it the 90-second rule. Your emotions literally are chemical responses that happen in the body, more so in the body, for 90 seconds. So when you feel it, don't stop it, because we usually do. You don't even realize it. It's just like, oh, I can't do that. It's, oh yeah, you can. Just lean into that, and whatever it comes out, it could be screaming, yelling, crying. One thing I like to do, and I highly recommend this to all people, clients or not, lay on the floor and just fall out like a 2-year-old, like for real. Have a tantrum. It's so good. It's so underrated. I'm gonna tell you what. Yeah. So
I'll be sure to do it right when we get off this call.
yeah, do that. So fall out and have a tantrum. But believe me, because it's it's just a physical thing. Once it's out, it's like your brain comes back like online. Have you ever reset a button on your phone, right? And it's just like, ooh, okay, now it works. And whatever it was that was causing that chemical reaction, all of a sudden you can think clearly now. So yeah, that's the main thing. You just gotta lean into it, not go through it. Don't push through it. Okay.
Thank you for that. So that you've answered all the questions that I have. So I'll give folks in the comments an opportunity to put any more questions that they may have. And then Ms. Cordelia, if you had any, concluding thoughts or any further information or thoughts that you wanted to share, please do.
Yeah, absolutely. While we're waiting for someone to ask a question, I just want to share that right now things are different, and I'm not even going to call it a new normal. I'm not even going to call it abnormal. It's different, and we can, embrace the fact that things are only going to evolve in this way. And you don't bother kicking and screaming and resisting it. Just just embrace it. And when you embrace it, if you need someone to talk to, reach out to a friend. Okay. I also am offering right now free Replenish Me meetups. They're 10 a.m. on Wednesday Eastern Standard Time, and they're on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, you know, feel free. That link is in the bio for each one of those. If you want to
Can
join.
folks find that on your Instagram page?
It
The
is
link
on my
for that?
Instagram page.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
And I saw someone asking, how did you overcome these obstacles?
Yep. So I see the question. What are some negative experiences you had overseas and or professionally, and how did you overcome these obstacles?
Okay. That's the full question. So negative experiences, you know, I would call it practice. You know, some things that have happened are just miscommunications, right? And when it comes to people not seeing each other eye to eye, then you know, in the moment, it's just the same thing like I just said, just embrace and accept that, okay, this is different than I thought it was going to be. Okay, and lean into that. Of course, you cannot fall out and have a tantrum in the moment, darn it. But but at least, you know, just like, okay, mental note. And then, you know, later on, if you want to, you can assess, okay, what exactly led to that point. You know, for me, I went back to think, did this person already give me red flags that this is the way they operate? What is it that I missed? Document it, right? Because if you met one person like that, you're going to meet another person like that, just so you'll be ready for the next time. Let me think. Other negative experiences. I have to say, I'm surprised. A lot of times I was really expecting to be met with some animosity because I wear hijab, right? And I have to say I've experienced that more in the United States than I have anywhere else in the world, although I haven't been to the continent of Africa yet. But like Middle East, Asia, Europe, I've been totally fine. So yeah, Caribbean, everything has been fine. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. We have another question from Byron Williams, who will actually be speaking a little bit later this week, our friend at the U.S. Department of Agriculture and Peace Corps. And his question/comment is the following. I think as Black people in America, we have been conditioned to push through whatever we're going through, no matter the challenge. What precipitated you to take on the lean in approach?
Byron, first, I want to just thank you for the shout out and sharing my, you know, that I'll be speaking today on LinkedIn. I really appreciate that. And I intend to do the same for you. So, and now to answer your question, for me, the leaning in came from being a mother, I believe. When, you know, you want to be honest with your kids about their emotions, and just seeing that look in my little girls, I have 4 girls, right? So seeing the look in their eye, like, Mom, just tell me the truth. Tell me like it is, right? And also having had a mother and a grandmother who, yeah, even though they're Black, they were just like, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to be too happy. It's okay to be mad. And so I want my children to see me as human, and I want them to grow up as balanced human beings that are positive contributions to society. And when you hide from yourself by not leaning into your emotions, it's really difficult to show up as a real human being. Yeah. I mean, especially for I just want to add one more thing. As women, our wisdom is in our emotions, That's the great thing about being a woman, because we can feel, we have the capacity to be sympathetic and empathetic more so than other people. And if we as the pillars of society don't show up like that, then, you know, it's going down. Humanity's just over.
Yeah. Do you have strategies on sharing, how do I say this, having challenging talks or challenging conversations, whether it's with a relative, a friend, or in a professional setting? You may have to have a hard conversation. That's what Oprah calls it. Oprah, yeah, hard conversation. Right. Do you have any suggestions or tips on maybe having some of those conversations, but maintaining a, you know, it coming from a place of compassion and not a place of malice?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, you know who you're talking to, right? I give a really good example. So I had I was about to have an argument. I could see it was going to turn into an argument with my husband, okay, one day, over one of our teenagers, and just a disagreement about parenting. And so at first, right, I wanted to be like, you know, you're wrong all day long. Why you just don't listen to me, right? That's the default. Then I was like, whoa, pause. Hi, Sister Jenna. He gets, you know, really upset when it comes to our kids, right? Because he's a parent. And so knowing that this is something super close to his heart, I stopped myself and I said, okay, let's listen to hear what it is that he's concerned about. Is it a fear? Is it a true anger? Is it an anxiety? And so when you stop yourself, right, you can see yourself in the moment, just like I was explaining, right? I wanted to judge him. So I paused the judgment and I opened up my ears and my heart and my mind to hearing not his side of the story, but what is bothering him, what's in his heart, right? And that allowed me to go into a place of compassion, as if I was listening to my child, right? Because that's when I'm talking to my children, it's the same thing. It's like when I see my kids, right? It's like, okay, there's something really going on inside there, right? Just pretend that whoever it is, even if it's a coworker, like you're talking to, like you're listening to the concerns of a 2-year-old, because that's what happens. When people get really emotional, we immediately go down to the age of like 5 or 6 years old. So you have to just recondition yourself and stop the judgment. Don't judge yourself, don't judge them, and just listen.
Well, thank you so much for that. And thank you for coming to speak to us today and share your journey and your experiences with us. Mrs. Cordelia Gaffar, I'm Alexandra Maloney. And for those who are watching, please feel free to follow us on our Instagram page at IABPIA.org. Sorry, I don't know why I'm so used to saying the website. But you can find our page, follow us, and please follow our speaker, Miss Cordelia. If you go to her flyer on our page, you can find her handles there. So
yes, that's good.
And we have one response on the last comment from Civil Service Society that says, I'd stop wanting to focusing on winning the argument, not winning the argument, you know. So thank you for that comment. And thank you, Ms. Cordelia, for coming to speak to us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All righty. Have a good day, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, bye.